We are live back in the mix. Reap the Harvest podcast show extravaganza, streaming worldwide. What's going on, Matt Tack? How are
What's
you,
up, man?
dude?
It's Friday, dude. Favorite day of the week, man.
We're in
Love
the
Friday.
zone lately, dude. This is it's like batting practice. We're just hitting them into the bleachers Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's beautiful. So you were talking about follow-ups earlier. You're slammed with meetings today. We both are, which is a beautiful thing. But dude, follow-ups, man. The sales are in the follow-ups. The relationships are in the follow-ups. The success is in the follow-ups. I mean, I probably followed up with you like 60 times a day before we even started doing this.
That's a bit aggressive.
You were like, this guy, I'm gonna have to block this guy's number.
I would not recommend that.
But hey, man, look, now you're a dominator. See? So I was right. My instincts were correct about the Matt Tech skills. But yeah, anyway, that's enough of your producer Pat intro. Matty Matt, take it away.
Oh, good, man. I'll probably bring you back on here in a minute. We'll talk about some stuff, but follow-up Friday. I was actually in a call with Sean Terry actually yesterday, and he was going after some of the same stuff, follow-up Friday, as far as following up, right? It's all about the consistency of the follow-up. But I want to talk a little bit about real estate today. So I love talking about real estate, and I love talking about the art of negotiations, the art of follow-up. So I would definitely not consider myself like the tier of the tier. What I go is try to feed off of people that are the best of the best and learn from them. As I do in any aspect of leadership or whatever it might be, I try to feed off of those people that are way ahead of me. But the art of negotiation and then follow up. As I began my real estate career, I realized that there is a very, very it's the art of negotiation is phenomenal. And you never buy real estate. You never, ever, ever buy real estate at retail. You always buy it wholesale or below wholesale. Ain't that right? And and how do you do that, right? Yeah, there's a marketing leg to it. There's a number of things you gotta do a lot, right? It's casting that wide net. But it is all in the art of the follow-up. So you never make a deal, but people's motivations change at any given time. So unfortunately, that's the creative piece of marketing, is that you just have to consistently hit lists again or hit people again. But then what after that, when you don't make a deal, so your price point, right? Your max allowable offer is what I call it. So I get my might be my anchor, which I learned from Steven. So the anchor, I love the anchor, right? So you can get a little bit better price, but then how do you move towards your max? So your max allowable, your offer, your MAO is kind of built into the structure of the deal as far as what you're going to offer them, but you cannot exceed that. That's the max. That's the max you can offer somebody. So in real estate, though, what we found is I tell my guys, don't make a deal. You aren't going to make a deal. You know your price points. We know where we're at. We know when we're within range. We do give them options. So we can sell your house retail if you want. But that's not cash, right? Cash is always king. If I can give you cash and not allow you to deal with all the headache of the closing costs and the commissions and the realtor fees and people walking through your house, you don't need to do that. Boom, I can get you in probably anywhere from 30 days or less. I can get you a price and I can get you cash. So anyways, what does that look like? So we have just an expected range that we have. Typically right now, we're honestly 30 to 50 cents on the dollar. So we try to act within that range. Our max is typically 50 to 55. We might budget 55 depending on the condition. But usually in commercial real estate, it's a little bit different. The numbers have to work. We have to underwrite the deals. I do two different type of syndication models. So one of them being a Bratz syndication model. So Tim Bratz actually invented his own syndication model, which comes from the RSF world. So the residential single family fix and flip model, which is awesome. It's an awesome way, right? Obviously high upside for the general partnership, and allows you to actually capture a little bit more of the equity where visions align, like the idea, right? Never a bad idea to do a traditional syndication route when it's not necessarily a really robust value add. and you there's some lift in there, but you can split it, right? You can split it with the equity partnership, where there's maybe some hurdles built into the underwriting, where visions do align. I always love incorporating those hurdles. Four Oaks Capital, one of my partners, they actually do that really well, where they do a traditional syndication model built in with hurdles, so you can capture different ends of the syndication model between the LP and the GP side. GP being general partnership, LP being limited partnership. Limited partnerships are, and I'm just going to throw out some terminology and then I'll go up, like obviously the art of the follow-up Friday, which I definitely can get better at too. We can get better at the follow-up, but we're putting systems in place more and more every day. But it was one thing that I've always learned, that if you don't hit them consistently, it's never going to become a deal. And I think that you do something long enough and you're consistent with it, something might become a deal, and that's when it becomes a winner. I've seen the fruits of that firsthand, but without a doubt, I can get better, man. We have so many leads that fall out that I'm like, man, we didn't touch these. We need to touch these. These are like 3, 4, 5 more times before it's a deal. So anyways, we're trying to go at, after this is, I take 2 different syndication models. I'll take a BRATS or a traditional syndication model. We'll split that up. Like I was saying, GP is going to be a general partnership. LP is going to be limited partnership. Limited partnership is more so your passive investors that are coming into play. So they're going to get an equitable return. They're going to get the upside of the depreciation. They're going to get usually a dividend payment. It might be deferred over a period of time, where we're doing the CapEx, deploying the CapEx while we're increasing cash flows. So there's a number of things that actually come in play on a syndication side with the limited partnership, that there is tremendous upside. So I try to explain that to all my investors. I try to educate them. Like I said, it's a 3-step process. I sit them down, we talk. Hey, is it a good fit? Is it a good fit? Not all money is good money, right? We got to have good energies in play. Second one, hey, what is your investment palette like? You like something maybe even a little bit more risky, or do you like something that that has like pretty good upside, so a little bit more stable, like a little more conservative approach to it? So we invest in those vehicles. And then the third one is maybe taking out the pitch deck, pitch them into a deal we might have in play. So that's how we do the commercial side as far as overall raising capital for the limited partnerships. So I'm gaining the limited partnerships to come inside our general, come inside the syndication that's controlled by a PPM. So a PPM is a private placement memorandum, or a private partnership memorandum that allows you to, essentially to break out the stock holdings within an investment vehicle. I'll tell you the reason why I like hard assets. Hard assets are a phenomenal resource for limited partners, because they can invest any sort of liquid monies into an investment vehicle. And not only can they get an equitable return on their money, so typically we try to get anything ranging from 8 to 10%, and a cash on cash return. So cash on cash, you'll see that as an abbreviation of COC, but or an acronym of COC. So cash on cash return is typically the dividend payments that are going to be like an aggregate maybe of the course of the hold. We do anywhere from 5 to 7 year holds typically. Sometimes when we do something a little bit shorter time span, where it's like a home run of a project, where we're going to get to our basis within maybe a 3 to 5 year time frame, that might be a debt structure. I can go into that at a later date, debt versus an equity structure. But that, if it is an equity structure, that would be it'd be a home run. So anyways, we still try to, no matter what, it's between an 8 and 10% cash on cash return over the course of life project. So you might not be like that early on when it's not as cash flowing as heavy, but on the backside, you would get an aggregate of the course of the hold, projected to be between an 8 and a 10% hold on our projects. So then I know I'm going over a lot. I'm just throwing a lot of stuff out there today, but I love talking about, the commercial piece of real estate.
Dude, I love that you're hitting on some real estate stuff, because, I really want to make sure that we start to dive into some of that, like Follow Up Friday. Maybe that'll be where you start breaking some of this down, because dude, you know a lot about that stuff, and people love to get some free advice and some advice on deal flow. And that's what I was seeing you talking about in the hallway at Tim Brotz's event with people, and I'm like, dude, this guy knows his stuff. So, dude, I love that. So break it down for people that don't know how to create that kind of cash flow in deals, like cash on cash return. That's one of my favorite terms in real estate, is cash on cash.
It's not mine. And the real reason why it's not mine, right, is because, cash is, I love it. Cash is sweet.
On cash.
Cash on cash. You're doubling. But the whole reason why cash on cash returns shouldn't be the realest figure involved is there's actually a realized cash return, right? And when you think in terms of like an investment vehicle, specifically a hard asset, there's this lovely thing, and I can do a whole episode on this, but a lovely thing called depreciation, right? And when you fall within the equity structure of a deal, now you can't do this on a debt structure, because debt is a loan to an investment. I
understand that.
Well, there's a difference between equity and debt, right? There's the equity is like you have an ownership piece. Debt it's basically just a loan you're getting an equitable return on. So if it's a loan and you're actually getting an equitable return on, you don't get the upside of depreciation, but there's still a value in that. So don't get me wrong. There's still like a value, because it's usually for a shorter period that your money's being held up. So that's why I always ask, what's your investment palette? What's the risk level like? What's the risk tolerance? And what you want is equitable return. Now, for me, what I do is, for a lot of the investors right now that we're actually working with, it's on the equity side. So they'll come in, and there's this little known thing called cost segregation. So cost segregation is obviously becoming more and more popular in the commercial world.
Yeah, my buddy Alan's real good at that.
Specifically commercial multifamily. So what you're able to do there, and like, I'm just going to give very, very high level, quick, brief, touch points. We'll actually bring somebody on in the future months to talk more and more about cost segregation. But the cost segregation piece allows you to actually accelerate your depreciation. And that when you do a cost segregation, and I'm not like an expert, I actually rely on a lot of experts. So I just know the knowledge because I've obviously been around the world of commercial real estate, and then specifically guys that are actually, hosting webinars or broadcast, or even I'm at events. But you're able to accelerate your depreciation to a like very finite front end period of time within like the first like 1 to 2 years of an investment hold. Now, what you're able to do that is when you're able to accelerate all your depreciation, all your equitable return. So your equitable return being your interest payments, your dividend payments paid out like maybe on a quarterly basis. At the end of the year on your K1, you're able to depreciate like pretty much all returns you got. So then by the end of the 5 year, even if like you're going into an exit where it's the sale of the asset, you're able to depreciate not only what your returns were, but if you're a W-2 employee, you're able to actually reduce your W-2 amount. So it actually reduces your tax liability across the board. So it's not like, oh, just because I'm like, it's depreciation here doesn't mean it can't help me out here. No, if you have $10,000 in returns, yet you're able to write off $40,000 worth of depreciation, you can take that net delta of $30,000 and bring it over into your W-2 and reduce your W-2 debt tax liability by $30,000. Let's say you're in the you're in the the top 25% tax bracket, right? And you're getting hit with 40% taxes. I would take all day a 30% adjustment to my tax liability, because what is that? That 30 grand goes right back into my wallet instead of back to the government. So that's the beauty of a hard asset, and investing into it, like investment vehicles like that is really realized gains from. And so cash on cash is sweet. That's what your average aggregate quarterly dividend payment is going to be. And right, I said it might be a little bit lower early on, but that obviously grows as cash flow grows. But that's the beauty, man. The beauty in commercial real estate is that you're able to, depreciation is an unbelievable tool.
You're on fire today.
So
on fire.
So the art of the follow-up is extremely pivotal too, and is something that we obviously, as we increase our marketing as well, But so we're working on one deal right now, and it's actually a land deal. And case in point, like as an example, we had to touch this woman probably eight times, and we're going to sign a contract today with her. So like it's that type of follow up. Now we aren't calling somebody 60 times a day, so that's
like
what
Pat Hilton.
what I love about that is he'll hit you up on every single one of your posts. And he'll call you up 4 times a day, and then he's got you on Reap the Harvest Live, baby.
Killing it.
But like Reap the Harvest Live is that's awesome, dude. I love it. I love doing it. I build energy from it, so I love the accountability. So I'm not dogging on it. The acoustic force is very real, and it is forceful. But today, as far as follow up, going back, I just wanted to give kind of an idea of like my mindset, my models, what I do on a daily basis. So that's like the real estate piece. But then it also comes in the deal flow. And the deal flow, wholesaling is actually relatively new to me. Commercial real estate is not. Deal flow comes from various avenues in the commercial real estate world, various broker partnerships, and then also capital partners that we partner up with. But relationships, what are relationships? It's just follow up. Like you got to follow up. You got to stay in sync with your people, right? And I stay in sync with my tribe. But even in the business world for us, right? What is that? It might be 8 to 15 touches before we close a deal,
right.
And it's getting to that point. Typically, I think the statistics is that Sean Terry actually mentioned last night was like it was most people fizzle out after 2 touches. After 3 touches, it's like 80% of the people fizzle out, and then it's like if you do 5 or more touches, you literally have beat 80% or 90%. So if there's 5 or more touches, you beat 90% of everybody else. 90% of the world or the salespeople in the world have fizzled out where they won't do the extra touches. So it's really all about touch. I should like start posting some of this stuff of stuff I've learned, but something we're doing in our CRM. There's this guy, Jeff Henry. He's part of the Real Advisors Group. He actually automates his touches. So it's something that I got to get to where it's not a phone call. It's actually a drip text or a drip email where that's a touch. And when you consider 8, 5 or more touches, it doesn't have to be just a phone call touch where like, hey, I need to get on the phone. I got to hop on the phone to, call them.
Right.
A touch could be a simple text. Hey, was just thinking about you. And that's like a friendship too, right? Why let a really, really quality friendship, somebody that you care about, go 5, 6, 8 weeks without touching somebody?
That's what I was just putting into the thing is build trust. What you're also doing is you're building trust.
You're building trust.
You can't trust the guy that just fires off a bunch of random emails and doesn't really care. There's a gal I follow. She's real good at social media marketing. Rachel Peterson is her name. And she sends a lot of free email templates. We were just texting about this the other day about how her emails are built around giving me something that can help my business every week rather than trying to sell me something constantly. So I'm always reading her emails because I always get something out of it. It's not just reading the email. I mean, there's usually like a link to like her page of deals or something, but that's not the reason why she's emailing. It's like, hey, I did this last week. Here was my conversion rate on this, and this. You know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. Here's a free template so you can do it for yourself. And you know what I mean? If you want to check out some other stuff that I do sell, click here. So it's way more based around here's something that you can use today and way less about, hey, well, my stuff is still available. So I constantly read her emails every week. I'm way more likely to buy something from her because she's constantly giving me something that's going to help rather than constantly trying to hawk her services on me. So
you got to add that
something
value.
to think about.
Yeah. And that's what we're trying to do with Reap the Harvest. We're trying to plant the seeds, obviously build the relationships, stay relevant. We're staying relevant. You're eventually going to see me when I got time with a green screen at back of me. I'm going to get better. You might think it's cliche. You might think but eventually I got to build up my base. I got to get a little bit, I got to get my own little podcast studio. We're just getting out here and being raw. But I'm going to grow with the times too.
Well, yeah,
But
and the cool thing about it is, just like you, it's we're giving away a lot of free stuff, and I think as we start to dive more into what you know about real estate, we will have stuff that's available for people, and webinars and meetings that we're going to do and masterminds that we're going to do, because if people really want to dig deep and talk about that topic, well, I mean, how you've spent an enormous amount of money gaining that knowledge, so it's going to take you time to go through your mental template of all of that stuff to help someone be successful. So that'll be available in the future, and I think it's awesome that we have the ability to do that and give that to people virtually, because we don't even need to leave our houses to give people that value. It's awesome.
Nope.
So Follow Up Friday, we're following up, we're building trust.
Follow Up Friday.
But yeah, you've got calls.
Monday, we got Follow Up Friday. What's it? Tacky Tuesdays.
Maybe we'll start doing a little once a month Tacky Tuesday with a little
Wiggity Waggity Wednesday.
Wiggity Waggity Wednesday. But yeah, we had Turtleneck Kelly, our supermodel co-host on Monday. Maybe she'll be back soon. And dude, it's a beautiful thing going into the weekend with some momentum.
We got a guest coming on June 5th. Everyone be aware. Joe Dillon is coming on. A consultant, a wholesaling consultant, a big deal in the wholesaling world. Actually, it's kind of wild. I was walking my kids in my neighborhood. Didn't even realize he really lived in Florida, and then he was walking in my neighborhood. So I was like, "Dude, man, what's up? Are you Joe Dillon?" And he said, "Yeah." And so, anyways, I've run into a few times since then. And I was like, "Dude, how about you get on my podcast?" He's super transparent, dude. And he's going to talk a little bit more about his consulting company and how he elevates. So he is a machine, and just an overall, I'm pretty sure great dude. I look forward to get to know him actually a little bit more in the podcast. So June 5th, 12 o'clock, everyone check into that. But we are 20 minutes in. I gotta go. Friday's my day. Got to talk to my guys. Love you, Pat. Love everyone listening.
See you soon. Thanks, guys.
Follow me on Instagram. Peace. We out.